where you want to turn your body, turn your hips, keeping your hands on here as well. A little bit of advice on head movement, how to keep it short and, you know, not too wide and too exaggerated, right? Because you don't want to move your head like that. So basically, you're catching the shot right in front, or you're deflecting it away. Morning everyone, I hope you're doing well today. Thank you very much for tuning in, really appreciate it. Shout out to all the subscribers as always, and gratitude to anybody new, welcome along. This video we're going to be talking about defense, right? I'm going to explain to you your 3 lines of defense for beginners. You know, some of the defensive moves I'm talking about are a little bit more advanced, but it doesn't hurt to know what they are and what they do as well, because, you know, technically there are 3 forms of defense, right? We're going to get into all of that, but actually really, if you think about it, there is a 4th. So stick around to the end of the video. I'm going to explain each of these defensive moves, how important they are, how to do them really from a quick, rough, in a basic format, especially the ones that you can do today. Some of the more advanced moves I'll just touch on, but like I said, it's really important that you know what they are and, you know, when and why to use them. At least from a mental standpoint, you can practice them as you go along. But yeah, for now, let's get into the video. So we've actually got quite a nice day today and thanks for joining me. As I said, you know, usually I like to go around there where I can get a bit more sunlight, but they're always playing football at this time in the morning. It's super early, so I've got this baseball pitch, which is all right, you know. But anyway, let's get into the video. So defense, right? 3, and then there's a 4th, which we'll talk about at the end. But the first one and most important one, and I've already made a video about this, is your feet, right? Your footwork is, you know, going to be your first line of defense and your most valuable asset that you can have, okay? Because you can just a simple quick step back. If your opponent is stepping towards you and they're out of reach, right? This is actually really important. If your opponent is out of reach and they're stepping towards you and you step back, they're still going to be out of reach unless their feet are going to be a lot quicker than yours, right? So it's important to maintain your range and your distance, and obviously working in circles. So, you know, if someone's coming directly at you and you're backing up, they're probably going to get to you quicker because they're going forward and their punches are going to be longer. But you got to basically step back to the side. You don't really want to go back in straight lines. That's a big no-no for boxers in general, especially beginners. But your feet are going to be your biggest savior and your biggest asset, not just in defense, but obviously offensively, but specifically defensively. You know, you can go side to side, as I mentioned, a little step back out of range, because then you can counter back after that. But your feet is number 1 and the most important. So be mindful of that, because I'm going to talk to you about how you can combine the 2, right? And the second one, I'll just stay in this view right now because it's actually quite a beautiful view. You know, we've got the backdrop here. If you're new to the channel, a big part of this channel is, you know, I like to get involved in a little bit of photography, videography, and bring it in. And when I get my computer back, which is hopefully tomorrow, I'll be able to add a few more edits in, because a lot of the stuff that I'm talking about, I have made videos for and I want to bring those in, but, you know, I'm kind of limited with what I've got right now. But a part of the channel is to really give you different angles and show you with some hopefully better lighting, and just get the channel as professional as I can so it makes sense for you, because I've got a massive passion in art, you know, photography, videography, and boxing, obviously. Boxing and music are at the top, but I like to bring it through together, and as the channel grows, you guys are going to hopefully see that, and it'll make a bit more sense. But for now, let's stay with this angle, or let me get a slightly different angle, but this same kind of view. I'm going to get quite close up on this one, because this second line of defense, actually, you're going to need to see what I'm doing, because it's actually going to be your arms, right, for blocking. Okay, so you've got your feet, which is the first one, second one, and there's no, you know, your feet is definitely the most important, but the next 2, it really depends. But blocking, right, using your arms and your hands for either parrying, right, which is basically deflecting shots away. If shots are coming in, blocking the shot like that. I've made a video about blocking already. I will leave the link to all these in the description. Please go and check those out so you can actually have an understanding of what blocking is and how to do it, because I demonstrated with beginners in the gym and, you know, walked you guys through exactly how to do it and why you need to put your feet in certain places, why you need a good stance, why you need to have your base under you, right? A solid foundation so you can catch the shot, so you're not put off balance. So you're either in a better position to counter punch, but you also have a more solid base, so you can actually absorb the shot better, right? And that's if you're stationary. If you're standing still, like I said, you can move your feet, you can move around here and catch and parry and move at the same time. So I'm using feet and hands. Very powerful defensive tool. You don't have to throw any punches to do that. If you need to, you know, get on your bike a little bit, move around, and you're trying to do this, punches are coming from here, I can just block it here. You know, parrying the jab, and I made a video about this, I'll leave that in the link, is a very important defensive tool you're going to absolutely need, especially for a beginner. It's where the jab comes in and I'm literally catching it, right? It's called a parry, right? I'm going to throw a jab at you, use your backhand to deflect it away. If it's in front of your face, I'm just deflecting it. Timing thing. All you're doing is deflecting the power or catching it in front. You could catch it literally with that. See, I'm here, and then I'll try to find the video and pull it up right now, because I've made several with beginners, and that's the point of this channel too. I'll bring in the actual footage of what I'm talking about so I can show you there and then. And basically, you're catching the shot right in front, or you're deflecting it away right when the shot's coming to you. There's a few no-nos. Don't swipe down at it, okay? You want to keep your hand right here, and obviously I can still move my feet, catch it like this, parry it away. Then you can either catch it and shoot back. A couple of no-nos are don't swipe too far down, right? You don't want to do this. Yeah, because I can just do that and come over to here with a hook. But if you keep it right close to your face, I'm here, boom, I can counter with the same hand. Bop, bop. Yeah, you can do that. Bop, bop. Yeah, you can do that. There's a lot of options you got there, but your arms and your hands basically for blocking, forearm blocking, right? If there's a 1-2 coming in, I can catch it here, forearm block here, forearm block here, pivot, move, you know. So you see how the combination of 2 and maybe even 3 are gonna be crucial for you to understand. Boom, just like that, the sun comes out, I found a new spot. This is beautiful, this is exactly what I wanted, you know. Hopefully, maybe I'll try and do the other ones again to give you an idea so you can see a little bit better. But I was on to the third line of defense that you have, okay? We already talked about your feet being number 1, right? Moving around, using the back step, getting out of range from your opponent. That's probably the most powerful defensive move you can have, is the step back, right? As I said, if you're in range, if your opponent's not in range and they have to step in to hit you, and you keep stepping back and stepping to the side, they're not going to be able to hit you as long as you match their foot speed. And then the second one, you know, using your arms, your hands for parrying, catching shots, blocking. Actually, let me talk about blocking defensive body shots for a second, right? Because it's and I've made videos about this, I'll leave them in the link. But you want your forearms on your rib cage, right? And you're gonna just turn your torso while keeping this on here. This is really important. A lot of beginners will do this, right? Because they're trying to overcompensate, bring their elbows down here, leave their chin wide open. So you've got to turn this, you're going to catch here, this is going to be your base, right? So you're going to have your foundation on you, your foot's going to be on the ground so you can catch the shot here. And if the shot comes in here, I'm just turning around here. My weight's on here now, so my foundation is here, so I should be able to catch the shot a lot easier, right? Then you've got actually something called a scoop, which is not for beginners really, where like if a shot's coming in, you can scoop it away. You know, it depends on the type of shot, but that's more advanced. We'll get into that at a later date. But the third one is head movement, right? Now, head movement is extremely important, right? And it does take a little bit of learning. It's definitely a skill, and it's definitely an amazing skill that you can have to help with your defense, but also with your offense at the same time. I just made a video yesterday about a little bit of advice on head movement, how to keep it short, and you know, not too wide and too exaggerated, right? Because you don't want to move your head like that and so far out. You're going to lock your body out. It's going to take you longer to get the punch back. You're going to be out of position. It's not going to be as rhythmical. I'll leave the short in the description, but head movement is a vital part of your defensive build-up. You know, one of the 3 of the 4. There's not really a 4th, but there is I'll get onto that in a minute. It'll make a bit more sense when I explain it. But head movement, right? And now I'll just give you a little few pointers on how to move your head. As I said, you don't want to do it too wide, and you don't want to be, you know, you need a good stance, right? Okay, as always, it's very imperative. A lot of it comes from the upper body, torso, so you're gonna have to practice it. You've got slipping, right? I'm slipping generally for the shots, the straight shots, the 1s and 2s, right? I'm slipping here, and I'm still in position so I can counter back, right? So here, slip here, come back with a hook. Slip here, come back with a 2. Whatever it is you need to do, you can counter punch off of head movement. And you know, obviously a moving target like that, if I'm moving my feet here and I'm like moving around here, that head movement is going to be very hard for somebody to time, and very hard for somebody to calculate where you're going and what you're doing, and you know, how they can hit you. And it's a very powerful tool once you really combine them together. Or even if you just have a basic head movement like this, you know, coming in offensively and they're trying to time you, it's very hard, you know. So you have your slipping, which is side to side. I'll make separate tutorial videos for these. But then you have, you know, this is a weave, right? Also a roll. I think the difference between a weave and a roll is a step, you know. Getting a little technical, I've seen people debate that, so I'm not trying to put any, you know, false information out there, but definitely this is definitely like, you know, a weave or a roll, typically designed to come around or over or under the hooks, whichever one you want to look at it. The hook's coming in there, I can roll and I can counter back here, roll, boom, boom, roll, you know. Combined with footwork, combined with slipping, very powerful tool, head movement, but it does take a little bit of practice, and it does take a bit of time for you to incorporate that as you're moving, you know. So definitely get that shadow boxing. That's a great way to, you know, pick up anything really, as I've always said. But yeah, so we got footwork, your hands, your arms, blocking, you know, and then your head movement, right? Those are the 3 main sources of defense for you. And the last one, and this is technically not, you know, defense in terms of moves that you can do, but it's something you can do that will certainly shut your opponent down, and that's be offensive, you know. That old saying, offense is defense. Well, or being hyper aggressive and shutting somebody down, making them not want to punch, making them move their feet, making them not punch, is making them be less offensive, which makes you more defensive essentially by being offensive. Right? So you get my point. It's not technically one of the 3, but it also does work to have less punches in your direction. But quick summary, and you know, I'll get on to what videos I've got coming up, because you know, I've got a ton of content, and as I said, I'm very grateful for people, especially if you tuned up to now. I'm really looking to develop this channel massively and try to get, you know, the highest level quality, from morning shots like this to creativity, to having it as simple as possible so beginners can understand what I'm talking about, having good audio. You know, all this stuff means a lot to me, and having you guys tune in this late means a lot to me, so thank you very much. I'm looking to really get the best out of myself, and that's my ethos on this channel as well. I want that to project onto people that are watching, and hopefully you can go home and apply yourself, at least have some understanding on what I'm talking about here from a defensive point of view. I'll try to put up videos daily, you know, and if I can come out here and get this little bit of sunlight every day, I'll be so happy, because it makes such a difference, you know. But anyway, footwork, your hands, and then head movement. And if you combine them all together, right, I can move around here, can catch a shot, slip as I'm pivoting right here, right? You could literally parry a jab here. That would be the, say if someone throws a 1-2 at you, right? I could parry the jab, slip the 2, pivot around here, punch, hook, roll, pivot, uppercut, hook. So you're combining all of them together. And that's why it's really important to learn all 3. But there are a lot of nuances to blocking, and you know, parrying, scooping, forearm blocking, shelling up like that. You know, you could just do a basic shell, which is, you know, the most classic kind of turtle shell, high guard it's called, which will be very safe for you. It has a lot of holes in there, there's a few issues with it, but if you're moving your head as well and you're moving your feet a little bit, you know, it's actually quite hard to penetrate if you don't know what you're doing. But anyway, that is it for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it made sense. Please let me know if you have any questions at all. And as I said, very grateful for people tuning in. Loads of content on the way. I'll be looking to improve all this once I get my computer back, when it had a little bit of music in and had just a few little light touches. Keep it minimal, keep the camera angles changing, try to bring in some pictures and stuff of what I'm talking about, like freeze frame the moment, bring it in, zoom it in, talk about it, and just try to articulate myself as clear as possible so you guys can understand. You, the beginner, can understand. This is a channel for beginners. My name's Henry. And have a beautiful day and have a great week, rest of the week. It's Wednesday today. I should get this up very soon, but I'll see what's coming tomorrow. I usually think about it in the afternoon and try and piece it together. Don't forget to write your list, eat healthy, get in nature, exercise, try and get some good sleep. And a big part of this channel is about motivation, turning that into discipline, living a better life, getting a better version of yourself, trying to get the best version out of yourself. As we move on through 2025, by the end of it, I'm going to be in a much better place than I am now. I hope you are too. Thanks, man. I'm out. Yeah, while I've got this beautiful light, I'm going to redo this, section where it was involving your hands and parrying and blocking and stuff like that. If you keep your hands right here, nice and tight, obviously elbows on the rib cage, you can't really go wrong here. You can parry shots like this, keeping the jab, catching it or deflecting it away. I've made videos about that. I'll leave all the links in the description. Then you've got your forearm blocks, right? You can block certain punches, especially like overhand rights or even a straight right to a degree. Parry, block like that. Blocking the body shots, I've just talked about that, where you want to turn your body, turn your hips, keeping your hands on here as well. And you can just have a general basic high guard, nice and tight, which will, you can move a little head movement with it as well, which will block. As long as you're moving this a little bit in the direction, keeping your good base, you transferring a weight in the right direction, where I'm like able to take the shots a little bit better, right? If there's a shot coming around here, I want to turn here, but my weight, you can't see it right now, is going to be on my front foot so I can absorb the shot. Do the same here, roll, turn. So you can involve all three of the defensive moves in one, and that's the beauty of it. Yeah, so if I'm here and I'm taking this shot here, bang, I've got my weight here, I can absorb the shot here. Other shot comes down here, I'm turning here, turning here, turning here, but my weight's on here. I can counter back here, roll, pivot, not pivot, sorry. Catch that, turning the torso, catch that, pivot round here, 2, 3, roll under, pivot, jab, catch, forearm block, catch, and basic blocking too. You're just catching the shot in the air like that. There's a little bit of a debate to be had whether you want to keep your hand so close to your head, which is going to get a ricochet from the punch, right? That's why you got to have a solid base and you got to meet the punch. Catch it right there, catch it right there, and you can counter off of that too. That's more advanced, but you got to be strong up top and you got to have good balance and good base, as I always say. So I don't want to get over people's heads or beginners' heads, because I want you to just understand what you have and learn them from the basic manner. I would work on your footwork, work on keeping your hands up, turning your body, getting that good head movement, combining them together, using your feet, understand what they do.